Hello, greetings from Cheating Story Lab. If you're a newcomer, don't forget to subscribe and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from across the globe. I never envisioned myself covertly recording conversations, but when your own kin labels you paranoid, and those you trust make you question your very reality, self-preservation may lead you down unexpected paths. My identity is inconsequential, but the events of the past year drastically altered my perceptions about trust, family, and the person I married. The ordeal began with minor occurrences. Kinsley would receive late-night texts and swiftly hide her phone screen. She'd laugh at jokes I didn't catch, then dismissively wave me off when I inquired about the humor. Her sister Marlo would smirk upon my entrance, as if they had been discussing me. However, it was Kinsley's affectionate demeanor around my best friend Connor that truly unsettled me. I've known Connor since college. My best man, whom I thought I could rely on entirely, was Connor. He was almost a family member to us. Kinsley would touch his arm when she laughed, bring him his favorite beer without asking, and recall minor details about his work that she often forgot about mine. When I mentioned her unusual interest in him, she'd dismiss my concerns as foolishness. "You're being ridiculous," she'd say. Gerald and Vivian, Kinsley's parents, made the situation worse. They admired Connor deeply. He had repaired their deck the previous summer, helped Gerald with his taxes, and never forgot Vivian's birthday. To them, he was the ideal son-in-law, except that he wasn't. I was. One evening, when I expressed discomfort over Kinsley's excessive texting with Connor, Gerald told me to get a hold of myself. "That boy has been nothing but good to this family," he said. "Your jealousy will ruin your marriage." Vivian agreed, nodding in agreement. Kinsley was fortunate to have found someone as understanding as Connor. Such conduct, she gestured vaguely at me, is not easily endured by many. My self-doubt deepened. Perhaps I was merely paranoid. Maybe the lingering effects of grief were causing me to perceive things that didn't exist. My mother had passed away half a year ago, and I struggled to cope with my loss. Kinsley insisted the stress was making me unreasonable, but then came the fateful night that altered everything. We had just tucked our daughter Emery into bed. She was 2 years old, and we still used the baby monitor. I ventured downstairs to find my phone charger when voices emanated through the device. Crystal clear, they were. Kinsley's voice echoed. "I can't keep hiding it. He's catching on now." Connor's voice responded. "A bit longer, dear. Once we sort out the custody issues." My blood ran cold in the darkness of the kitchen as I listened to my wife and best friend plot their future together, seemingly oblivious to my presence. "What if he challenges for Emery?" Kinsley questioned. "He won't," Connor answered. "Not when everyone can see how precariously I am balancing." Months of accumulating evidence led to your parents testifying on his erratic behavior. The realization that they had orchestrated this left me nauseous, knowing their plan. The gaslighting, the family turning against me, causing me to doubt my own sanity, was all calculated. I quickly grabbed my phone and began recording. Over the following 20 minutes, I heard them plot my destruction in detail. They discussed their meetings over the past year, manipulating situations to make me appear unstable. It was revealed that Connor had been providing false information about my behavior to Kinsley's parents. "Remember when you mentioned that I was staying up all night going through your phone?" Kinsley laughed at the time, and your father believed it entirely. Connor added, "He's so eager to think the worst of his own son-in-law." They also talked about their plans to move to another state after the divorce, limiting my access to Emery, as well as their visits they had already made in preparation for this. Collaborating on household tasks with Connor, he noted, was the best part because it took him by surprise. He has unwavering trust in me. I stored that recording as if my life relied on it. For the following weeks were agonizing. I had to maintain normality while being aware of the truth. I observed Connor visiting our house for dinner, interacting with my daughter, and embracing my wife for a prolonged moment when he believed I wasn't watching. Yet, I wasn't merely a passive observer. I was meticulously recording every detail. Every text message, every peculiar behavior, every instance of them attempting to be cunning. I captured images of Connor's car parked near Kinsley's workplace when she claimed to be working late. I maintained a log of all the lies and prepared for Christmas dinner at her parents' house. The duo, Gerald and Vivian, usually hosted a grand family gathering. This year, they had extended an invitation to Connor, as Vivian put it, because he had nowhere else to spend Christmas. I carried a compact Bluetooth speaker for playing festive tunes, but there was no plan to blast Christmas carols since dinner remained its customary course. Gerald, in charge of carving the turkey, joked about my kitchen assistance. Vivian pampered Connor as if he were her own child. Kinsley, seated beside him, occasionally touched his hand while she believed I wasn't watching. "You realize," Gerald declared, lifting his wine glass, "I'm thankful for all the exceptional individuals within our family. Especially Connor, who proved an exceptional friend during challenging periods." He focused on me when he mentioned difficult times. That was when I stood up. "Prior to making a toast," I announced, "I have something I wish to share with everyone, a recording that I believe you'll find intriguing." I connected my phone to the speaker, causing Kinsley's face to pale. "What are you doing?" I replied, "Simply sharing some cherished family memories," and pressed play. The room grew quiet as my wife's voice echoed through the space. Gerald couldn't continue with the situation any longer, as he was starting to become aware. Then Connor spoke up. "Just a bit more, dear, once we sort out the custody issue." Gerald's wine glass slipped and shattered on the floor. Shocked was Vivian's reaction. Kinsley's sister Marlo, who had been smirking at him for months, looked as if she'd seen a ghost. But Gerald let it all play out. Their plans to take his daughter, their manipulation of the family, Connor's words. He's so quick to assume the worst about his own son-in-law. After it ended, the silence was profound. Gerald stared at Connor with an unfamiliar expression. "Leave my house." "Gerald, I can explain," Connor began. "Leave," Vivian sobbed. Marlo seemed to be seeing Kinsley for the first time, and Kinsley herself remained seated, knowing her meticulously crafted world had just crumbled. "How long?" Gerald asked softly. "Over a year," I responded. Vivian couldn't complete the statement. It seemed like I was. Paranoid, unstable, a poor spouse and parent? Indeed. A week later, divorce papers were submitted. Armed with the recording and all the collected proof, Kinsley's attorney suggested a swift settlement. I received primary custody of Emery. Connor lost his job when his employer discovered he was involved in an affair with a married woman and was manipulating her family. Since then, Gerald and Vivian have been attempting to reconcile with me. They send cards, apologize, request visits with Emery. But trust, once shattered, doesn't mend simply because someone expresses remorse. Kinsley relocated to a different state as planned. Instead of embarking on a new life with Connor, she now resides in a studio apartment alone, working at a job barely sufficient for her needs. It turned out that Connor wasn't as dedicated to their plan when it meant losing everything he had established. Should I have tried to talk to them first? Privately, should I have given them a chance to clarify their actions? Yet, the chilling voice through the baby monitor, plotting to separate me from my daughter, reminds me that I made the right decision. The toughest aspect isn't the divorce or the ensuing custody battle, or even losing my closest companion. It's explaining to a 2-year-old why she no longer lives with both of us. It's realizing that the individuals entrusted to safeguard our family were tearing it apart. Yet, Emery and I are coping. We are creating something fresh, something genuine. Sometimes, when she sleeps and the house is still, I ponder what could have been if I'd continued to doubt myself instead of relying on my conviction. If you find yourself in a similar situation, where people make you question your reality, trust your intuition. Keep records. And bear in mind that often, those who label you paranoid are the ones concealing the most. Appreciate your attention, and if this tale struck a chord with you, don't forget to click subscribe, provide a like for this video, and share your thoughts on what I might have handled differently in the comments below. Your encouragement matters greatly, and I look forward to connecting with you again in the next video, titled Retrochlood Can Air. Make sure to verify your responses.